KCRG-TV9 First News.
This morning, the president is heading to Texas as rescue efforts continue during massive flooding. He's promising support and funding from Congress. An Eastern Iowa woman is pushing for donations to send to southern Texas. She has a personal connection to the devastation. And the Mississippi Valley Regional Blood Center says it needs your help to stock up on blood. They hope to keep sending donations to Harvey victims. With many stranded or waiting for help, Harvey rages on. Here are the rain totals in the Houston area. This is just the past 24 hours. Up to 11 inches of rainfall there. A terrible night as the storm now regains strength in the Gulf. Thousands of rescue calls overwhelmed crews trying to help as many people as possible. Officials say when the floodwaters recede, whenever that might be, the number of storm-related deaths could soar. Kai, what are people in southern Texas in for today?
Really more of the same. An interesting note, though, is that the wind out of Harvey was actually the strongest in Houston yesterday, with a gust at the Intercontinental Airport at 48 miles an hour. So, again, this has not been much of a wind producer in the Houston area, but it's just been a truckload of rain here from Houston back through Galveston. It's all continuing to pinwheel around the same locations here in very slow motion on Harvey as well. Now, the center is still back out over the Gulf of Mexico, not by much, but by a little bit, and it's going to be continuing to meander very slowly up towards the east-northeast. Areas in white for today, all the way through early Tuesday, looks like another 5 to 10. Now, Houston may very well be on the back fringe of that. In fact, the Intercontinental Airport has now surpassed officially 30 inches. Now, there are isolated spots that are above 40 inches now in this area. So one of the bigger questions is, watching Harvey's track, you'll notice how it came inland, then meandered back out again, and now very slowly moving its way up towards the east-northeast here. And you may be asking yourself, why is this a situation that's happening with Harvey? It's actually a really easy meteorological explanation here, because we've got two blocking ridges of high pressure. Harvey comes in and basically can't get out. The good part, Nicole, is that high is starting to move, and as it does, Harvey ought to move as well. Back to you.
That is good news. Well, today the president and first lady head to Texas. This morning they'll leave for Corpus Christi, where local leaders and organizations will brief them on relief efforts. He'll be in the city for around 2 hours, then head to Austin to tour more damage. Harvey made landfall last Friday as a Category 4 hurricane. President Trump has promised to send help immediately.
I think that you're going to see very rapid action from Congress, certainly from the president, and you're going to get your funding.
At least 4 people have died in the storm. The storm's devastated Houston along with other cities in this state. Premier Bank is working with the Red Cross to help Hurricane Harvey victims in Texas. It's collecting donations at each of its 3 branches in Dubuque. It'll match up to the first $5,000 in donations. TV9 partnered with the Red Cross for a telethon to support relief efforts. With your help last night, we raised $38,500. The University of Iowa Community Credit Union contributed $10,000 of that. This does not include dozens of voicemails still to answer or online donations. Thank you to those of you who supported the cause. And you can still donate. You can find a link to do that this morning on KCRG.com, or you can go in person to any of the UICCU branches to donate until September 18th. The Red Cross says the company plans to match any walk-in donations up to another $10,000. Certainly they're going to need all the help they can get down to the south, and here at home you feel a little guilty with our weather. Yeah, very little of concern here. We've got a few pockets of fog, and that's about the extent of it. In fact, the Dubuque metro area, you can't really see much in the lights here, but if you look right at the top of the bluff there, we're looking our way towards the west. The fog starts to get a little bit thicker there, and that's what we're experiencing too. In fact, quarter-mile visibility at the Dubuque Regional Airport, quarter-mile also towards Maquoketa, but back to the west, fog is not too much of an issue yet. Now, we're still 2 hours and 15 minutes or so away from a good sunrise, so we could still see some expansion of this. So something to watch for. We talked about this yesterday. There could be a few more pockets of fog, and here they are. Dense fog advisory, not as widespread as yesterday, but it's still there. It does include the Dubuque metro area. This goes until 9 o'clock this morning. And again, there could be some pockets of fog west of the advisory too. Satellite and radar shows not just the area of low clouds, but also an area of fog from Dubuque towards Maquoketa. That's all drifting very slowly down towards the south and west. And the general theme for today is that it should be a warmer day, should be a brighter day, but not out of control though. Temperatures right around 76, still about 5 degrees below average. Thanks a lot, Kai. Well, many across the country have loved ones in Texas and want to help however they can. KCRG-TV9's Jordy Kalk met with one Eastern Iowa woman who's using her personal connection to the state to gather donations.
Starting this afternoon, Fairway stores across Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and North Liberty will be collecting donations to go down to Texas. And it's all thanks to one local woman. Angela Gedkin is working with the Kingsland, Texas Fire Department to create a list of needed items. Her brother is a firefighter for that department and is down in Houston fighting the floodwaters. The department says people displaced from their homes are in need of personal care items most. Angela says all the donated items will stay at the Kingsland Fire Department until the community decides how to distribute these donations. She says every little bit helps.
Knowing that they were doing something and that we could partake in that, kind of like made me think about it a little bit more.
Angela plans to pick up the donations from all Fairway stores sometime this Friday, and after that she plans to drive down to Texas this weekend. In Cedar Rapids, Jordy Kalk, KCRG-TV9 News.
The Mississippi Valley Regional Blood Center is asking for blood donations. It says if its inventories are full, then the center can send any extra product south. The Grandview United Methodist Church hosted a blood drive in Dubuque. One woman told us she feels it's the easiest way to help those people in need.
I was a blood recipient several years ago, and so I feel like it's a great opportunity to give back, and with everything that's happening down in Texas, I feel like it's my way that I can help out.
Mississippi Valley sent shipments to Houston over the weekend and yesterday. The center expects the area will need donations for weeks or even months. Many are calling it Japan's most serious and grave threat. North Korea launched a missile over Japan's northernmost island this morning. The U.S. and other countries are now contemplating a possible response. The missile flew for nearly 15 minutes, eventually breaking into 3 pieces and dropping into the Pacific Ocean more than 700 miles off the coast of Japan. President Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe discussed the launch, saying the U.S. stands behind Japan. The launch is a violation of United Nations sanctions.
This type of launch, again, it is a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. So it is clearly they're still messaging us as well that they are not prepared to completely back away from their position.
The president and prime minister also discussed strengthening the pressure on North Korea with others in the international community, including Russia and China. President Trump is defending his decision to pardon an Arizona sheriff. A U.S. District Court judge found Joe Arpaio guilty in July on criminal contempt charges. It was because he refused to stop imprisoning suspected illegal immigrants. People frequently accused him of racial profiling as well, but the president says Arpaio had more than 50 years of admirable service to our nation and is a worthy candidate for a presidential pardon. The president doubled down on that at a news conference.
Sheriff Joe is a patriot. Sheriff Joe loves our country. Sheriff Joe protected our borders. And Sheriff Joe was very unfairly treated by the Obama administration.
Some also criticized the president for the timing of the announcement during Hurricane Harvey. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds says she disagrees with the president's ban on transgender individuals joining the military, but her office says she's not planning a response. On Friday, President Trump told the Pentagon to implement the ban, but the governor told reporters she feels anyone who signs up for the military should be able to serve. An Iowa National Guard spokesman says no one has openly declared a status as a transgender. Over the last decade, Iowa's noticed a major decline in the monarch population as well as other pollinators. In fact, the whole Midwest has seen this decline. A group of Cornell College students is looking into what's causing those numbers to go down. KCRG-TV9's Alicia Tarancon joins us live at the Hoover National Historic Site in West Branch this morning. Alicia, what have you learned from their findings?
Well, originally conservation scientists thought they were seeing less monarch butterflies because they were seeing less milkweed. Now, that's the only plant that monarch butterflies will lay their eggs on, and that's the only plant that their caterpillars will eat. But now scientists are saying that's not the case. They're saying over the summer, students at the Cornell College Summer Research Institute recorded the number of monarch eggs and caterpillars they found on the milkweed. They noticed there isn't a lot of butterflies using the milkweed plants in general, and that's why they think other factors are causing the population to go down. In North America, much of the prairie land has been destroyed.
Iowa used to be covered by prairies, and now we know there's less than 0.01% left of our native prairie. We have all these restored prairies, but even restored prairies have environmental toxins kind of creeping in and human disturbances.
Some of those toxins are pesticides commonly used on farms. They also believe a cold front had something to do with wiping out a lot of monarch butterflies last year, as well as the destruction of monarch habitats in Mexico, where these butterflies migrate in the winter months. Now, this is the third summer that these students have worked on their study. Starting next month, they'll continue to work on their research, but instead of being out here in the field, they'll continue to record their data in their classrooms. I'm reporting live in West Branch. Alicia Tarrant-Kahn, KCRG-TV9 News.
Oftentimes, kids in need can't afford to pay for meals at school, but now every student at 10 Eastern Iowa schools can eat breakfast and lunch for free.
Once again, we have a few pockets of fog developing across eastern Iowa. This will probably be an issue through about 8, maybe 9 o'clock. There's the dense fog advisory. It's a smaller area than yesterday. We'll time out when the fog leaves next.
And before we go to break, here are your opening farm markets. Stay with us on this Tuesday morning on First News. It's 4:41.